The most recent time Congress passed a farm bill was in 2018, while last week the House passed a skinny version of a farm bill. Jason Doyle joins us now to explain what's in the bill and what steps are next. Jason.
Taylor, House Resolution 7567, known as the Farm, Food, and National Security Act of 2026, was passed by a bipartisan vote on last Thursday. For some Oklahoma producers, it's a lifeline during uncertain times. But they'll have to wait for the ultimate outcome of the bill.
On this vote, the yeas are 224, the nays are 200. The bill is passed. Without objection, a motion to reconsider is laid on the table.
Congresswoman Stephanie Bice declaring the vote last Thursday on the U.S. House of Representatives version of the Farm Bill, something that Oklahoma's agriculture producers depend on to keep crops in the field and livestock fed at times. It has been 8 years since Congress passed a comprehensive farm bill. Last week's action builds on funding already provided by the One Big Beautiful Bill passed last summer.
A lot of the funding for this bill came through last July. This really builds onto some of those pieces. And there are some key pieces that are going to be important for us here in Oklahoma.
Credit plays a major role in keeping farming and ranching operations going. Amy Hagerman with OSU Extension says the House's version of the Farm Bill addresses the need for smaller loans.
So if we think about credit as a great place to start, expanding those limits on the loans that can be made, also expanding the microloan availability. We have a lot of smaller producers that are just getting started in the state, and microloans are a great way to get into those key pieces of infrastructure that they need.
During his opening remarks, while the Farm Bill was being worked on by the House Committee on Agriculture, Congressman Frank Lucas said this legislation can help smaller producers gain the foothold they need to be successful in rural Oklahoma.
It is aimed at making life better back home. To name a few provisions among many, this bill reauthorizes a suite of critical research, rural development, and credit programs that will invest in our communities and create rural resiliency for decades to come.
Oklahoma's representative for the 3rd Congressional District also notes the Farm Bill could strengthen the safety net farmers and ranchers rely on.
I know I'm not the only member here whose district has been devastated by wildfires or other natural disasters. But events like these serve as a reminder to us that the programs we get to review in the Farm Bill discussions matter in more ways than we often realize.
Whether we're talking about that for livestock producers through some of the insurance products, or whether we're thinking about it for our crop producers in terms of some of the both disaster and crop insurance products. Bringing that forward so it reflects current costs of production is really essential. It makes that safety net more effective.
President of the American Farmers and Ranchers and the Oklahoma Farmers Union, Scott Blubaugh, agrees that the Farm Bill is a vital safety net, but doesn't feel inflation and other costs were addressed in the current form of the legislation.
You know, the safety net is still inadequate. So basically what they've done with this Farm Bill is just tweak the version from 8 years ago a little bit. And we all know from 8 years ago that what inflation has done throughout the country, our cost of production have doubled in most cases.
Blubaugh adds that President Trump's trade policies have limited access to foreign markets for some producers as well.
You know, we've had trade wars with our number one partner, customer, I guess, in China. For many, many years now, and destroyed our trade markets.
Amy Hagerman with OSU Extension says the overall Farm Bill is still a work in progress, and it could lead to improvements in trade and relief for ag producers.
So we're on year 8 of this Farm Bill, and that has had some consequences because the world looks quite different in 2026 than it did in 2018 economically. Costs of production, thinking about how world markets are operating right now. And so these are really key changes that are needed to bring the Farm Bill forward to the current market environment.
While Congress is taking more time than it usually does to craft a new Farm Bill, there are still needs to be met. Relief funding is coming from the One Big Beautiful Bill passed last year, but those funds are not yet available.
Even in the Big Beautiful Bill that was passed by Congress last summer, that put quite a bit of agriculture relief in there, has yet to be it's yet to come out to the farmers and ranchers. And it'll be October before that money even starts to flow out to the farmers and ranchers.
And we've seen that in conversation around the Farmer Bridge Assistance Program payments as well. Recognition that this Farm Bill has taken a while to get to production phase, and that there needed to be some of that bridge assistance, even in the immediate term in ad hoc, but now also having some of that bridge assistance for disaster programs as well.
Bridge funding and the use of microloans, as mentioned earlier, could be key to keeping younger farmers and ranchers to stay in the industry.
We're seeing some of our young farmers actually going out of business, and I'd been calling this for a couple of years that this was coming. And there are most vulnerable farmers and ranchers are our young farmers, because they don't have a lot of equity built up and have staying power with the banks to ride it through these tough times.
While Blubaugh and other ag producers are happy for the progress, he believes more needs to be done before the work on the Farm Bill is complete.
We need to take a really long look at this Farm Bill, and instead of tweaking it, in my opinion, we need to overhaul it and make it suitable for today.
Senate Agriculture Committee Chair John Boozman says his committee will likely take on the Farm Bill late this month or sometime in June.